We're going to do a quick tutorial here on how to remove your green screen using Adobe Premiere Pro. Once you've got your green screen captured here, what you're going to do is you're going to go up to your effect controls and you're going to go under the opacity tab here, the opacity menu, and choose the pen tool. This is going to allow us to draw a mask. Okay, and the idea of the mask is to just go around our person or our object, so we're not having to deal with all the extra green around them. We just want a little bit like that. So that's going to be really good. Now we only have to remove a little bit of green as opposed to green on the other sides. Now, if our person is moving, in this case, we may have to enlarge the mask a little bit. If they are moving a lot, we may actually need to keyframe it. And if that's happening, then under opacity, you can see we've created a mask now. We can actually animate that mask path. And so now, for example, if I have this right here, and as she kind of moves there, I can bring that out, I can bring this out, and so on and so forth. And you can see the mask actually expands and contracts based on that keyframing. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that keyframing, and then I'll pick up in a minute and we'll get rid of the green. All right, so once I have an animated path, if needed, you can see it follows my person along here, and just make sure that there's always going to be green behind them and it's never going to get cut off. And you may have to go through a few times just to make sure that you're not missing anything. Once we've done that, we are going to add a new effect. So we're going to go down to our effects panel and we're going to do a search for Ultra. And the one we're going to use is called Ultra Key. So I'm going to take Ultra Key, I'm just going to drag it right onto my clip, and I'm now going to scroll down. Now, the big thing that people will mess up in is they will start using the pen tool under Ultra Key. Do not do that. You only use the pen tool to create the mask under opacity. After that, don't worry about these at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on my Ultra Key settings. Now I'm going to open up matte generation because these are all the main settings that I'm going to use. Now this clip that I'm using is going to be a little difficult because there's a lot of movement going on, but we'll see how it does. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the key color and choose kind of the most normalized green that we can find. You might find that there's light green, dark green, and middle green. Find kind of the most middle green you can. So I'll just take my eyedropper and click right there, and you can see it does a pretty good job already. But now what we want to do is we want to have a look at it in matte mode, which is going to give us a much more accurate idea of what's happening. So now we're going to change the output from composite to alpha channel. And the goal here is that we want our person or our character or our object to be completely white, and we want the background to be completely black. And we do that with these matte generation tools. Easiest way to think about it is work your way from the bottom up. So I'm going to start with the pedestal, and the pedestal will do a lot actually. The pedestal, as you increase it, it will start taking away the background pretty nicely. Now if I get too high, it may not work. It may start taking away some of the person, but in this case, it looks like it's actually doing a pretty nice job. Okay, so I don't want to take it up super high, but I go as kind of as high as I need to get a good look there. Now I'm going to go to the next one, which is tolerance. Now the tolerance is going to kind of have a few adjustments on its own, and some of them are going to be minor depending on the character. Okay, so I'm going to move this up just a little bit. Shadow is probably going to help with the white itself, so I'm going to increase that one just a little bit. Highlight is going to get rid of some of the background, especially if you have like light spill like that. So I'm going to lower my highlight, and I guess there is a science to this, but really it just takes a little practice. And then finally, I'll work on my transparency and just make sure that I'm not getting any kind of ghosting with my person. The most difficult part is probably going to be down here where you have shadows. There's only so much you can do. So I'm going to have a look at this. I'm going to put this back to composite, and now I can see that I've got a pretty good cutout. And if I want to do kind of a nice test, I could maybe go over here and just make a color matte. And, you know, I could just try a color, see what it looks like. If there's a bright red there, put that underneath just to get an idea of what that green screen is looking like. Now, the first thing that's really standing out to me, and this is a very common one, is that you'll see that there's a bit of an outline around my person. Okay, and that's very, very common. It's kind of the light of the green screen kind of hits the outline of the person, so it's hard to get rid of. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go past matte generation, and we're going to go to matte cleanup, and we're just going to apply a bit of a choke. Now, if I do a positive choke, you can see it goes one way. If I do oh, sorry, this one is only a positive one. So I'll just increase that a bit. There are there's other programs that have negative versions of that. So I'm going to increase that choke a bit just to kind of get rid of those outlines. And you can play around a little bit with the edges here, with the other options. You could soften it. You could adjust the contrast a bit. Basically, what we're trying to do is get this looking as sharp as possible. So when we actually put them onto a real background, it looks pretty good. So I can see, because there's so much movement in here and different ways the shadows are affecting it, you know, I'm getting some changes over here. So maybe I have to adjust the transparency, maybe the pedestal a little bit. And I just kind of go back and forth between composite and alpha channel and keep adjusting those. Now, if you're getting some really weird results based on the clip changing a lot over time, you can actually keyframe these as well. That'd probably be a little more advanced, but you can see right there, that's looking pretty good. The other option, of course, is when I'm getting that spill up there, if I can't get rid of it, I can always go back up to my mask here, and I can just tighten up the mask. And there, it's just gonna block it all together. So lots of different options. Eventually, you're gonna wanna apply some color correction on this, because this Ultra key may actually kind of alter your colors a little bit, but pretty quickly you should be able to get to a situation where you've got the green cut out nicely, and then when you put that into some sort of background image or video, it'll be a really nice composite.